Hello, and welcome to this bonus interview for Daily Prayers, the World's Faith. I'm here with the author and the narrator, Andy Roland. Thank you for doing this interview with me.
Pleasure. Lovely to be here.
It's lovely for me that you're here as well, because we actually met twice randomly, didn't we? And we were talking about your books, even when you were just in the creative stages and all things like that as well.
I think it was randomly at CRT, but I sought you out at CRE.
That's right. And we ended up having to sit down. And
Yeah.
I remember looking over my shoulder thinking, I must get back. I must get back to my stand. I'm enjoying this conversation. So congratulations with your book. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I have to just go straight away to, why did you write this book in the first place?
I was trying to write sort of fairly major book, which is going to be my next one. And I suddenly thought, during lockdown, I sent out these about 6 emails, my email list, one a week, giving a series of prayers from the different religions. And I suddenly remembered that. I thought, it might be a book in that. Put it out quickly, and I was like, actually, it's become quite a major project.
Well, I would say very, very much so. But did it just happen like that? Did people ask you, say, are you going to turn this into a book? Or was it just like a little inkling you thought,
Oh, no, I like writing books.
I know you like writing books. I mean, we were talking out there earlier about all these wonderful ideas you have for future books as well.
No, nobody asked me to.
Nobody asked you to.
So I just thought, it started by saying, I could put this into a book. And that's just the prayers, which is fine. But then I realized I needed to do something else, which is to write a short description of each faith, which is another thing. And then it becomes a sellable book.
But how do you even start creating? This is not a straightforward book at all. I mean, how do you even start to create a book like this?
Well, I've been curious. I'm a curious person. And if something exists, I like to look into it. And my family, mum and dad, were always very open to people of all sorts of faiths. There was a book I used a lot called God of 100 Names, which is my mum's copy. And my father was an agnostic Jew. My mum was a Quaker. I went to India for 2 months during my time when I was being training for ordination. Basically, if it's there, I'm interested. And I pick things up. I collect things on the way.
So did you have any problems? If you say no to this question, I'm going to be absolutely amazed, because I was thinking the amount of knowledge you must have to create a book like this. It was just blew me away. So did you have any problems when actually creating this book?
The problem was logistical.
Okay.
I realized I was going to write a book with the prayers from other faiths. Then I have to make sure that I get eyes to look at it, which aren't Christian eyes. So I had to get someone from each faith to look at it. And that was a bit difficult to find people. It took a bit of effort and phoning round, and a Muslim professor in SOAS, who gave me one new quotation from the Quran to do instead of the one I had, that sort of thing. But I remember getting lost in SOAS, extremely difficult place to find anything.
Did you find that those people were interested in what you were doing as well? Because it's quite an interesting concept to cover all the different religions of prayer. Did they find that an interesting topic?
I think they were more courteous than interested. Yes, I think that's probably reasonable to say.
So let's say you're creating this book and you're speaking to all these wonderful people in these different circumstances. Now, I'm guessing you had to focus on the pronunciation of things as well. Did you have to ask some questions on some of the pronunciation of these words that pops up in the book?
No, not really.
You just had that already, did you?
Yeah.
This is just through you being an interested guy.
And I'm very happy with speaking, how to pronounce foreign languages. And,
he's got a gift for that.
The guttural CH.
Yes, of course. Fantastic. But when you were talking to everybody and developing your book, what did you learn yourself during this process?
Well, first of all, I learned something about Buddhism. Buddhism are two things I didn't know much about: Buddhism and Sikhism. And so, how to find a Buddhist? Well, the answer is I knew that some Buddhist monks had created a sand mandala in St. James Church, Piccadilly, because I went to a concert and saw them there. So I got in touch with St. James Church and got in touch with somebody there who told me who the abbot was, whose monks they were. And so that's how I got in touch with him, and got there eventually when there weren't engineering works on the tube line. I was very fortunate with the Buddhist abbot because he was the one who had written out the explanatory panels for all the Buddhist sculptures in the V&A.
Wow.
That was very useful. I learned about Sikhism, which I didn't know before, and other things which comes quite surprising. You know, when I'm describing Islam, and I said they believe in the unity of God, and he crossed it out and said, no, it's the oneness. There's something different for Muslims to say it's the oneness of God from how Christians might say the unity of God. Now, I don't know what that difference is, but there is some sort of difference.
Interesting. Is that something that you would take with you and start pondering around in your head, or do you just sort of accept it and let it be as it is?
I think it's more research than I'm prepared to give it.
Another book.
What I do, it distresses me is that when the church gives the summary of the law, Jesus said, they say, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord." Well, the Hebrew is Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And Echad is emphatic, one. But it feels like the Christians think, oh, we don't want to sound very Trinitarian. Let's not say that.
Interesting. Obviously, when creating this audiobook, I had the PDF document of the actual book itself. And within that document, I discovered that there were lots of pictures, lots of photographs that appeared throughout, which if you're listening to this and you want to see those photos, then you can get the digital version or the print version. But I'm just curious, for example, the spoon, and there was a wonderful photo of like a kind of like a brick entrance. It was like almost like a brick doorway, maybe in a window or something, and just past us, the stone bricks on either side, there's a beautiful view in the background. And it really got me, thinking, where did these photos come from, and why did you choose these photos?
All various places. Well, first of all, why have them? I just think that a book without pictures is like a meal without wine or a day without sunshine. So I always have illustrations in all my books. And I thought, well, I'd like to have something, particularly as a prayer book. If you're going to make it attractive, you've got to have something which is enjoyable to look at. But I didn't want to have, people having soupy expressions on their faces. It doesn't work. I was really fortunate. I looked back on my iPhone, my photo library, and I found all these more or less abstract photos in color, which I was able to put in as appropriate bits of the book. The one you mention comes from a wonderful castle, Bolton Castle, above Wensleydale. I happen to have that, but it's sort of, the idea of it is you go through the sort of stone of repentance to the forgiveness of the sunlight journey beyond. So there was an abstract meaning.
I think that's really interesting, actually, because I didn't actually think it was in the UK. That particular photo. So that's actually taken me by surprise. But yeah, lovely photos. So within your book, do you have any personal favorite bits?
Oh, yeah, my favorite. I know my favorite.
Oh, go on.
My favorite is the thing about welcoming the day from the Buddhist tradition, which was said to me by Lelung Rinpoche in his Dharma in his center in North Harrow. And I said, have you got because Buddhists don't have prayers, but they have sort of things. I said, what would you say when you wake up in the morning? And he said, I'm grateful I have woken and I'm breathing. May my day be meaningful.
Yes, I think that's fantastic. When I heard that, it made me think of this is the day the Lord has made. I'll rejoice and be glad. It had a similar. It was something. I remember that bit stood out to me as well, and it's something so simple and so beautiful, and something we can all do, isn't it?
Yep.
Something we can all do. So, yeah, I think that's great. Within your books, I mean, how many books have you written now?
8.
More to come?
Yes.
Yes. I know you just said out there. Yes. What are the key values for you within your books?
I want to skate on the edge.
Interesting. Go on. You can't leave me on there. Go on a bit more.
I want to sit on the edge, skirt on the edge of faith between the people who are certain and have their own sort of absolute certainty of faith and those who think there's nothing there or don't know what it is. I've always wanted to communicate. Communication, my name again. When I taught RE for a short time to some second modern boys in Birmingham, 13-year-olds. And I remember my first RE lesson. I walked in and I said, now, before I start, can we all agree on one thing? If the Bible says one thing and science says another, the Bible is wrong. Can we start with that? It took them half the lesson to accept it because it was the wrong lesson to say it in. But 2 weeks later, the science master said to me, your boys are 13 now, they've been asking me about the Bible. I said, yes. You've got to create a way of communicating.
Oh, that's wonderful. I completely agree with that as well. Completely agree. Because everybody's different, of course. Okay, so I do have one last question for you. And I'm really sorry that I'm going to push you on this one because people want to know more. What is your next book? My next book is going for it, everybody. He's going for it.
Is called The Church Has a Past, Has It Got a Future?
Oh, interesting. Interesting. And how far into that are you, or are you just...
I've done most of it.
Oh, really?
I've done most of it.
Goodness me.
I think I probably still just have to do the... revise the section on Trinity and do the section on sex.
Wonderful. It sounds great. I just think it's great the work you're doing. And I could easily stay here and talk to you all day. But I just wish you the very, very best with all of your future books.
Thank you very much.
God bless you. You take care.
And you.